Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a new edition of the Daily Debate. In tonight's show, we're going to be focusing on the economic file. Now, Egypt is aiming to reach $100 billion worth of exports in the next few years annually. And we're going to be focusing on the challenges, the aspirations, and how to achieve such a goal. But before we start doing that and discussing it tonight, let's check out some of the stories making the news today. And we'll start off with President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, and rather Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli, attending today the celebration of the Nuclear Power Plants Authority for generating electricity on the first annual anniversary of the Egyptian nuclear energy, held under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi at Al Manara International Conference Center in New Cairo. Addressing the event, Madbouli reiterated that the use of nuclear energy in producing electricity is considered a main factor for achieving the country's sustainable development. The Premier also asserted the importance of the agreement signed between Egypt and Russia on establishing a Daba nuclear plant, a matter which he said opens new horizons and creates a promising future for reaching the Egyptian nuclear dream. The event commemorates the date of the agreement on November 19th of 2015 under the auspices of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi and the Russian President Vladimir Putin to build and to launch Egypt's first nuclear plant at Al Daba. Also under the theme, exports worth $100 billion. The dream is possible. The 8th Economic Conference organized by Akhbar al-Yom's press institution was launched today. Opening the conference, Minister of Trade and Industry Naveen Gema said the government is working on 5 axes as part of Egypt's Strategy 2030. Reading out Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli's speech to the conference, the Trade and Industry Minister added that the foremost axis is the industrial development with the aim of increasing exports. In this regard, the Minister said the Industry Ministry endorsed an export support program that offers incentives to enhancing exports, notably to Africa. Minister Gema said the government also has launched the Structural Reform National Program for Developing Industry, which helped mitigate the fallouts of the coronavirus crisis. On his part, Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources Tariq al-Mullah said the oil sector suffered badly following the 25th of January revolution amid low investor confidence. However, he added, the past 7 years witnessed reforms and regulation upgrades that led to record gas exports atop of other Arab countries. The minister said the oil sector intends to provide an extra 4 million housing units with gas as part of the Decent Life initiative. In his address to Akhbar al-Yom's Economic Conference, Minister of Electricity Mohammed Shakir said the conference is a national platform to exchange views and laying down the investment opportunities in state sectors. The minister said despite challenges in generating power for local consumption, recurrent electricity outages has completely ended. These were a couple of the stories making the news today, but now let's check out this report regarding Egypt targeting $100 billion worth of exports through a nationwide strategy. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back. As the Egyptian political leadership recognizes boosting the country's export potential and expanding to new horizons is one of the main drivers of the Egyptian economy, it has set a target of $100 billion in exports annually. Despite the challenge of achieving this goal, it can be realized through the collective and collaborative efforts of the government, its relevant agencies and ministries, and the private sector, in particular industrial producers and investors. The Egyptian government took numerous effective measures during 2020 to support investors, producers, and the business community in order to mitigate the repercussions of the COVID-19 pandemic, including launching export subsidy settlement initiatives for overdue payments to exporters, waiving penalties for delayed tax payments, and rescheduling unpaid natural gas bills for manufacturers. These all contributed to ensuring that liquidity would be available for businesses, allowing them to further invest their resources as well as to protect their workers and employees. Several main pillars are required to achieve the goal of increasing exports to the desired level. The first is increasing local value added and industrial development. Within this framework, the most important industrial sectors to focus on are those with a competitive advantage, including, for example, the food, chemicals, and engineering industries. These industries have witnessed a development boom during the past 10 years by attracting national and foreign investments and improving their supply and value chain efficiency. It is also important to enhance the quality of Egyptian industrial products and to provide technical support programs for manufacturers in order to enable them obtain international quality certificates that will significantly improve their products' competitiveness. The second pillar is facilitating the payment of export subsidy arrears in light of the recent presidential export subsidy initiative to help Egyptian exporters settle their dues. Around £13 billion was paid out during 2020 under the first phase of the initiative, in addition to the around £15 billion allocated to the second phase, which is currently underway. The third pillar is market access. Efforts must be exerted in order to enhance trade exchanges between Egypt and its partners signatories to trade agreements, most notably the African countries, since Africa represents a promising market for Egyptian exports. Consequently, it is also important to strive towards concluding the negotiations pertaining to the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Plans to establish logistical centers in several key African countries, which represent gateways to neighboring countries, should also be revived. A national council consisting of experts from relevant government bodies and the private sector should be established to oversee the policy-making process and the development of effective programs aiming to enhance the Egyptian presence in Africa. The fourth pillar is logistics. Concerted efforts must be made to support the logistical areas of ports of the Suez Canal Economic Zone. Government investments must be provided to upgrade the infrastructure for the ports in efforts to make the Suez Canal Zone a global logistical center that attracts trade and investments and promotes exports. The effective implementation and activation of trade facilitation measures within the framework of international agreements should also be expedited in a way similar to the implementation of the Bali Agreement of 2013 on lowering global trade barriers. The fifth pillar is promoting digital and high technology exports. Numerous countries worldwide have invested in their youth's capabilities pertaining to the development of digital applications, and this has contributed to increasing their digital exports and helped them to achieve unprecedented values of nearly $700 million. Finally, the sixth pillar is that an expanded export promotion program is a must. An effective program with an appropriate budget to promote Egyptian exports should be established within the targeted countries through cooperation and coordination with commercial representation offices and Egyptian embassies abroad. The role of the Export Development Authority should be emphasized and innovative techniques should be used for export promotion.